Dupa-di-pa-duba, beep.
Hey guys, it's Agent back at it again with a new vid. First of all, I'm very sorry for my absence this past few weeks. I've been handling chores and stuff, and I couldn't find time making for vids again. But I realized, I love creating infographic videos. I feel free to say my opinion and to inform you with mind-blowing facts and stories I've seen, read, or heard. I made a decision to post videos as much as I can because, like I said, I enjoy it, and you also will get a few nifty trivias you can use in different aspects of life as well. Okay, my vid is about two ideologies that sparked a war, or I should say, a cold one. These ideologies are communism and capitalism. We're going to explore how these two abstract mindsets created a battle between different nations and how the conflict was resolved. Now let's dive into it. So, communism. According to Wikipedia, communism, from Latin communis or common universal, is a philosophical, social, political, and economic ideology and movement whose ultimate goal is the establishment of a communist society, namely a socio-economic order structured upon the ideas of a common ownership of the means of production and the absence of social classes, money, and the state. It was first developed by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the mid-19th century. It has been the foremost ideology of the communist movement. In 1929, as Joseph Stalin became the leader of the party, Marxism-Leninism, a fusion of the original ideas of German philosopher and economic theorist Karl Marx and Lenin, became formalized as the party's guiding ideology. It would remain so throughout its rest of existence. In 2017, ECR Group EU interviewed people who lived in a communist regime. Quote, they felt like they were in a prison. They couldn't travel anywhere and they can't express their opinions. And some even cited the system of communism being evil and severe. End quote. And the second one is capitalism. According to Wikipedia, capitalism is an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. Who invented capitalism? Modern capitalist theory is traditionally traced to 18th century treatise An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations by Scottish political economist Adam Smith, and the origins of capitalism as an economic system can be placed in the 16th century. And the Western Bloc, also known as the Capitalist Bloc, was a coalition of countries that were allied with the United States, a member of NATO, and or opposed the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact during the Cold War. The latter were referred to as the Eastern. A capitalist nation is dominated by the free market, which is an economic system in which both prices and production are dictated by corporations and private companies in competition with one another, and places a heavy focus on private property, economic growth, freedom of choice, and limited government intervention, i.e., opposite of communism. What sparked the Cold War? Historians have identified several causes that led to the outbreak of the Cold War, including tensions between the two nations at the end of World War II, the ideological conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union, the emergence of nuclear weapons, and the fear of communism in the United States. The Cold War also stirred international conflicts and important events in human history. Here are some of the most important events in the Cold War. According to Norwich University, the arms race. With the United States having worries of the expansionist regime of Soviet Russia, they began producing tons of military weapons, creating intricate bombs and explosives like the hydrogen bomb, which was invented in November 1, 1952, while the Soviets were also making their atomic bombs in 1949, as well as keeping up with the US and their weaponry. Space exploration. The Cold War also made the competition in technology between the US and the Soviets. The two were racing against each other, trying to dominate supremacy in space exploration. On October 4, 1957, the Soviets launched a satellite named Sputnik using an intercontinental ballistic missile in the outer space. This symbolizes that the US is falling behind in space technology and showcases the strength of Soviet missiles. In response against the Union, the U.S. Army developed and deployed the Explorer 1 into space as well in January 1, 1958. This led to the creation of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, by President Dwight Eisenhower. But the Soviets remained on the lead by sending a manned mission in 1961. 8 years later, Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon, thus ending the space race between the USA and Soviet Russia. The Vietnam War. According to History.com, the Vietnam War, that lasted 1955 to 1975, was fought between Communist North Vietnam, backed up by the Soviet Union and China, and the South Vietnam, supported by the United States. The bloody conflict has its roots in the French colonial rule and independence movement driven by communist leader Ho Chi Minh. Vietnam was a battleground in the Cold War when the United States and the Soviet Union grappled for world domination. The most immediate effect of the Vietnam War was a staggering death toll. The war killed estimated 2 million Vietnamese civilians, 1.1 million North Vietnamese troops, 200,000 South Vietnamese troops, and 58,000 U.S. troops. Those wounded in combat numbered tens and thousands of more. Holy moly, that's a lot. The war that was intense by a bigger conflict was ended by President Nixon signing the Paris Peace Accords on January 27, 1973, ending direct U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. The Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was made by the Communist German Republic in 1961. With concrete barricades, watchtowers, and trenches, it effectively split Berlin into two, as well as the capitalist ideology and West Germany. In 1989, the Berlin Wall, being a symbol of communism, was demolished by Berlin's natives, reuniting and reunifying East and West Germany once again. With these events, the Cold War finally went into a halt in 1991. Ending also the Soviet and Communist Russia. I'd like to say this conflict gave a worldwide fear of nuclear destruction, as well as leaving a mark in human history. Personally, the Cold War is one of the most fascinating human conflicts. It rages throughout space races, causing another bloody battle, and waging revolutions against dictator's regimes. Its stories inspired books, video games, and movies. Stories and facts of history really have an interesting grandeur that attracts people to really dig deeper and think outside the box. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon in my next vid. Have a great day and blessed day, peeps. Love y'all.